Hello there, beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel. Now, before we go back to our main character of today's story, I want you all to know that I am incredibly biased against this person, and I really expect you guys to really double check me and do your own research on what I'm about to tell you, because I hate this dude so much. Anywho, this is the person that we're going to talk about. His name is Shaun King. Now, he is perhaps one of the most biased, ideologically motivated person involved in any capacity in American politics. If you guys think the CNN or MSNBC or Young Turks, they are biased, well, you have seen nothing. Those guys don't hold a candle to the level of ideological craziness that this man is capable of manufacturing. Anywho, this dude, for at least as long as I've heard about him, has been nothing but a serial liar. He came out to the American public as a black guy. Yes, look at that picture carefully. Yes, this guy claims that he's black. Obviously, people found pictures of him in his childhood with blonde hair, or I don't know, maybe he had brown hair. I don't know, but it was not a tough lie to bust is what I'm going to say. Anyways, so this guy is in the story once again for lying. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but I think it was on the 1st of January or the 2nd of January, a young black girl was murdered, and there has been a manhunt going on about the suspects. This guy was heavily involved in the story. For those of you who don't know, he's a very typical activist, you know, really endorsed with the whole victim oppression thingy, so black people victims, white people evil. That's his entire shtick. He has a huge following. I think he has close to 1 million followers on Twitter alone. And of course he has reach on YouTube, Facebook, and the whole stuff. So immediately after the murder, Shaun King here came out with this. Urgent. All hands on deck. A 40-year-old white man with a beard in a red pickup truck pulled up on a 7-year-old Jazmine Barnes and her family near a Houston Walmart, shot and killed her and injured others. I'm joining the search for her killer and have a $25,000 reward. Need him now. So here's a problem. The police did not actually declare this person to be a killer. He was a suspect. And here's where the story gets particularly terrible for me. The man not only was just a suspect, he was probably a witness to what happened. But this guy, because the guy was white, started labeling him as the killer, and of course you guys see the reward. Now, if you guys want to see the man that the police eventually arrested, this 40-year-old white man, this is what he looks like. Now, you guys may notice a little bit of discrepancy between what he looks like and what Shaun King said he looks like. Well, that's just Shaun King. If you guys want to know more, there is just a few months back, this guy accused a police officer, once again another white cop, of raping a black girl, and it was just terrible. The story was the police officer, he was extorting this black girl, saying that if she doesn't allow him to have sex with her, he's gonna put her in prison or something like that. Of course, the police officer was wearing those dash cams, so the whole thing was on video, and King's claims once again were proven to be false. If you guys want to know that full story and details, I'll leave it in the description below or on a card if you're watching this on YouTube. Now back to our current story. That's what this guy is. His entire shtick is labeling innocent people as racists and killers and so on. Just a few months ago, or no, not a few months ago, last year, I want to say 5 or 6 months ago, this idiot came out with this gem.
In Oakland last night, thousands of people showed up, and they're grieving, like including Nia's family. They're there and they're grieving a teenager. I mean, she is a high school senior, was just slashed to death, and white supremacists in Trump hats calling themselves Proud Boys. It's a new white supremacist. It's like the new KKK. They just put on like nicer shirts, but it's just the KKK in a different form. With Trump hats, show up to disrupt the vigil. like show up to interrupt people grieving.
And another fake story. It turned out that the reason the people in the march were the ones seeking out the Proud Boys. And also, the Proud Boys, they're not a racist group. You think KKK has moved so far into the future, they've progressed so far into the future that they now have black people and Asian people and Jewish people in their ranks? If they did, they would be very terrible white supremacists. I think we can all agree on that. Once again, Shaun King came up with this video in Twitter before the actual story broke, and once again was proven to be fake within a matter of hours. Anywho, the problem isn't just that this idiot throws out these fake news all over the internet and his followers, for whatever reason, choose to believe him. The problem is media, whether you're talking about mainstream or alternative media online, if they have a liberal slant, consider this guy, this proven liar, this horrible human being, to be a credible source. And so you had mainstream media pick up his tweet as a credible quote. We'll go into that later, but then I saw something last night that really made my blood boil. CNN came up with this gem. Yeah, you heard it right. Shaun King's tips. Well, here's what happened. Since Shaun King thought the killer was a white guy and the victim was a black girl, he dove head down into this story. Having been proven wrong several times in the past, this was going to be his redemption call. Well, as it turns out, a few hours later, it was wrong. Shaun King's involvement in this case, I don't know if it has a positive result. Maybe on some level it did. But it doesn't change the fact that he labeled a person a killer without any evidence. It doesn't change the fact that an innocent person who was probably a witness got labeled as a killer by this dude to his millions of followers. And then we have more gem. You guys know the Young Turks? You gotta be absolutely stupid if you consider the likes of Shaun King to be a credible source. But then again, that's what the Young Turk does. This person from the Daily Wire, his name is Ryan Saavedra. Man, I hope I didn't mispronounce this. The Young Turks, when this incident broke, came up with a video titled "Manhunt for White Man Who Murdered 7-Year-Old Black Girl." That's like the perfect story in the mind of a progressive news outlet. If you can write a headline like that, you're good for that week. Anyways, as we know that those stories are fake, rather than make the correction, rather than point out and say, hey, we made a mistake, the Young Turks have been deleting their videos which they made covering this girl, this incident. And that's the Young Turks. Now, some of you guys listening to this might be like, hey, if these people are caught lying in the act, maybe they would apologize to the public. Ho ho ho, my friend, you do not know the progressives as well as I do. Here's Chunky Ogre, the founder of the Young Turks. Look at this tweet. You have to give Shaun King tremendous credit for helping to solve the case and for seeking justice rather than an agenda when it turned out initial reports of a white man in a red truck doing the shooting were wrong. By the way, there was no initial reports of that. Shaun King made it up. The police were looking for the red truck and they specifically said in their tweet that this man is a suspect. They didn't say this man killed the girl. They didn't say this man did the shooting. The police said none of this. All this was the fabrication of Shaun King and later the Young Turks. Will anyone in the right wing give him credit for following the truth? No! They won't and they shouldn't. My goodness, the fake news epidemic is like, I don't get it. Anyways, you guys, that's the story. Just saw it last night. Just totally pissed me off. And my condolences for the family of the little girl. You guys should not have been dragged through all this, but here we are. That's the story. I'll talk to you guys soon, and hope you all have a good day.